Hello everyone, welcome. For a thrilling competition, watch Will's story. This seemingly noble act actually comes from selfishness. Helping Will just gives him more material to report on. What a clever. During the break, Berg and Will's Gus were showing off like who the real big shot is. The villain Berg gave Gus a good kick, and from that moment, their feud began. Thankfully, the American bodies nearby stopped this nonsense just in time. Meanwhile, the three big shots in the car drank and bet, turning the competition into a gambling hall. They bet that Will couldn't last a day, and with the ban of a gun, the sled dog race began. Will silently vowed to win. Right at the start, he raced ahead like a rocket, overtaking one competitor after another. As the private train passed, competitors stared, shocked to see him leading, their faces aghast. Then, Will hit the first hurdle, Heartbreak Hill, and with no experience, he could only fumble as he and the dog trudged forward. Finally reaching the top, he was gasping for air like a freight train, clearly in a rush. He turned around and realized that while he gave it his all, he was actually paving the way for his rivals. Reluctantly, he had to regroup and chase after them. Going downhill was a piece of cake. The earlier exhaustion vanished without a trace. However, this seemingly easy track was fraught with danger, concealing numerous unknown hazards. Who knows what misfortune awaits him? Luckily, he survived, unlike Will's American friends, as the crazy Berg was munching on a hot dog while randomly kicking at the snow. Distracted, he nearly hit the log. Dodging it, the snowy hill crumbled. He let go, rolled faster down the slope due to gravity, crashing into a tree. The injured cowboy was out of the competition, while Gus Pudding Command led was straight into his fellow snowman. This mishap caused Will's progress to plummet. By the rest station, others were dreaming. Following the early bird philosophy, he only slept for 5 hours the first night and quickly got up, skipping all the chores of life. His energy came entirely from his mother's special free kick, which inspired the agent. The next day, headlines were all about the American boy with his mom's creative baking. However, ahead he faced his next hurdle. The roaring ice lake flickered in his mind, with memories of his father falling into the water triggering him to take the long way around. The detour significantly lengthened his journey, and by dusk he hadn't made it off the mountain, so he decided to rest right there. But he was sleeping too deeply, seemingly oblivious to everything around him. Gus kept leading the crew forward, and by the time they reached the rest stop, it was dead quiet in the night. But Gus' instinctive action undoubtedly saved Will's life, as everyone woke up to his box, concerned about the sleepwalking boy. Dragging weary Will to the rest area, seeing his tenacity, Berg launched a psychological attack. "Your mum must be really worried about you, kid," he said, undeniably swaying Will a little. But the weight of responsibility and future dreams weighed heavier than nostalgia, leaving him unable to return empty-handed. So the next day, he quietly set off early again, transforming all his yearning into fuel for the journey ahead. Meanwhile, the carefully crafted article by the agent got pushed to the back page, so he sent people to Will's hometown for Goth. After a night's rest, Will regained energy. Passing a hill, he saw an Icelandic man snoring afar. The man was dire, feverish, barely breathing, yet the desperate Icelander insisted Will take his dog on. In the freezing cold -30 degrees, the brutal winter winds howled, but Will's kindness had never frozen. He loaded his rival's dog onto his sled. He abandoned the race and headed for the train tracks, accidentally leaving behind Gus' whistle. When Will halted the organizer's train, the dying Icelandic man called out American boy Will, earning everyone's admiration. Had he turned a blind eye, he would have been far ahead, but his selflessness and kindness left the organizers, especially Huber, in profound shock. However, co-organizer Angus was upset with Will, as his performance cost Angus $1,000 in the wager. He guessed that Will's act of salvation had exhausted him significantly, and immediately upped the ante. After regaining his strength, Will realized the whistle was missing and got no response to his calls. In despair, he had to shout out his father's call. After 4 days and nights, the media was excited about Will's heroic act and finally got him to make the front page. The youth was dubbed Iron Will and crowned a national hero. Talk about an amazing boost. Before Will's story got back home, the assistant had already arrived. Will gain more than just a hero title. He also experienced valuable personal growth. He learned to stand on his own and to advance fearlessly. What a fast-growing young man. When the assistant learned that Will was racing for his dreams and his farm, he couldn't help but feel moved. So, he paid for Will's loved ones to greet the hero at the finish line. Soon he had no chance to interview Will. The kid had been running for 2 days and nights. After hearing the news, Huber suggested splitting the cash winnings with Will's mom, but it was flat out rejected. On the outside, he acted nonchalant, yet inside he was fearful and plotting bad ideas. By night time, he approached Berg, promising a generous reward if he could catch up to Will. Greedy, he followed the footprints to find Will the next day, loosening the leash of the vicious dog, which led to disaster.